In this video, I'm going to show you what the top selling low content books on Amazon KDP are right now. Welcome to my channel. My name is Caroline. I haven't done a niche video in quite a while. One of those videos where I research niches to find some that have the potential to be profitable and share them with all you guys to help you out with new niches that you may not have thought about before, or if you are struggling with your niche research. I like to create those videos just to share niches that I come across because I can't go into every single niche that I find on Amazon, so I figure why not share them with you guys, and it might be something that one of you might want to get into as well. And I was going to do one of those videos for you because, like I say, I haven't done one in quite a while, but then I thought it might actually be a little bit more interesting to, instead of looking for niches, to look at actual books and to see if we can find what the top selling low content books are on Amazon KDP right now. And in a way, it is kind of just like niche research because the books that I'll come across will give you some niche ideas anyway, but I think it'll be really interesting to see what books are popular, the most popular, regardless of the niche, and which books are selling the most. Now, one thing to note before I do get started and about what I am going to be looking at, considering that these books that I'm going to be finding or trying to find are some of the best-selling books on Amazon, they are very highly likely to be in some very highly competitive niches. So if you do decide to make any of these books or any books similar to these in these kinds of niches, just be aware that you are going to have to put in time and effort to make sales in these competitive niches. Aside from that though, by looking at these books, it might give you an idea of the type of book that it takes to be a bestseller, the level of quality and the kind of quality that it needs to be, and just to see what kind of low content books are the most popular with customers. What are they buying and loving? So first of all, how am I going to find these books? There is a couple of different places that I go to when I am looking for what is most popular and what is selling the most in the Amazon store. My favorite way is Amazon itself. You can find any niche and product research information straight from Amazon itself, and best of all, it is totally free to do your research there. So let's head over to Amazon on my screen and start looking around. Okay, so I'm just currently on the Amazon.com website. I'm going to the menu here and going straight to the books category. I want to look at the best sellers under the book category on Amazon. What we're going to find here is there is going to be a mix of books. This is not going to be just purely low content books or books purely published by Amazon. This is going to show us every single bestseller book across every type of book, every kind of category. So we basically just want to see whereabouts, if any, are there any low content books in the top 100 or the top 1000 of all the millions of books on Amazon. So I'm just going to look for the best sellers in books and click see more. And this is going to give us the top 100 of all books. So as we can see there, that children's book, Why a Daughter Needs a Dad, is currently ranking number 1 out of every single book on Amazon. So let's just scroll through and see what we can find. Majority of these are going to be high content books, fiction and non-fiction type of books, but I do always find some low content books in there as well. I just noticed I scrolled past one there, which has gone past my screen. The first one that I've clicked on here is a classic low content book. It has been in the top, I'd say 50 or 20 of all books on Amazon for a very long time. Look at the amount of reviews this book has. It's a learn to write book, so a letter and number tracing book. Over 73,000 reviews, basically 5-star every single one of them. This book is basically for toddlers, or I guess that maybe 3, 4, 5-year-old age, where they're learning to write, learning to draw and things like that. So currently it's sitting at number 21 of all books on Amazon. And we'll just go down here because the look inside feature wasn't working, so we can go to the reviews and just see what photos people have uploaded. Now we can see that this is a color interior on the book. It's not printed by Amazon. It is published elsewhere. If you can make a interior that's color work, then that's great. So sitting with a rank of 21, this book is going to be selling tens of thousands of copies of this book every single month. Okay, let's head back and we will keep scrolling through and see if there are any more low content books on here that we can find. Okay, the next one that I've clicked on here is a preschool workbook because I have done videos on these before and how popular they are, and they're basically similar to that Learn to Write workbook we just looked at. It is just an educational workbook for preschoolers or pre-kindy aged children where they're just learning the basics of reading, writing, maths and things like that. These books can do very well. If you want to make these kind of books, you just have to make sure that you know what you're doing because you obviously can't put the wrong things in a kid's educational book. But as we can see here, this is also a color interior. So there is a bit of a trend with these educational workbooks that they are nice and bright and colorful because that's what kids like. Colors catch their attention. So let's look at the next page of the top 100 and we'll see what else we have. You might notice there's lots of dad books, and that's because Father's Day is coming up. So there are a lot of dad or Father's Day targeted books making their way up through the ranks, which will only be for a short time, but you can still sell a lot of books in those few weeks where they're popular because there's an event or a holiday or a season or something coming up. Now here's another book that is a low content book, Burn After Writing. So this is going to be some kind of a guided journal of some kind. It has some really nice A+ content there, and this one's currently sitting at 93 out of every single book on Amazon, and this is basically what the inside of it is like. So it's just telling the reader or the customer, whoever's going to be answering this, it's got a section and then there's questions that they can answer about whatever those prompts are about. So it's just a guided journal. That's very interesting. In my last video, I just talked about one of the things that no one talks about Amazon is that you will get bad reviews on your book due to the printing quality. And there is one right there saying that the binding is already splitting on that book. So we'll go, actually, the look inside features working on this one. So let's take a look inside the book. So it's pretty simple. There's a little bit of information just explaining how the book works. And then it goes into each of the prompts and you just fill it out. And it's something that you can keep, I guess, and look back on or pass on to family members and things like that. It's just a different kind of guided journal. Okay, now we're back in the search results. What else do we have? So here's another one, another kind of guided journal. Again, targeted at dads because Father's Day is coming up. These are very popular. Tell Me Your Life Story. And these are very popular books where it's a guided journal and the person fills out the book and then it's something that they can pass on to their children or their grandchildren and things like that. So you can see there was one for mum, grandpa, stuff like that. This one's just sitting in top selling ranks at the moment because Father's Day is coming up. And it's just questions about the person. And oh look, here's another review where the printing quality of the book is terrible. So it had sticky stuff on it and the back cover's all creased. Unfortunately, things that are out of our control with Amazon. So we'll take a look inside this book as well. It'll just be very simple guided prompts for the person to fill out. But these are really nice books and they're really nice to be given as gifts, which is a really great kind of book to sell on Amazon. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through each of the categories because that was the top 100 across every book. Now we can drill down a little bit further and also look at each category and what are the best-selling books in each category. So I'm going to look in arts and photography. We've got that Burn After Writing guided journal. There we have a colouring book, an anxiety relief colouring book, sitting at number 5 in that category, but 231 out of the whole Amazon store, and it's just an anxiety relief colouring book. I don't know if you noticed that, but this book was only uploaded in January of this year, and it is already sitting at that bestseller rank. That is incredible. All right, next up we have another colouring book with a swear word on it. One thing to note, that book cannot be advertised using Amazon ads because it has a swear word on the cover. We've got another one there, which is a colouring book targeting teens and trying to increase confidence and self-worth and things like that. That's always a popular colouring book. We've got another Amazing Patterns colouring book, another swear word colouring book, and then we go into some colouring books for toddlers. So I think what we can see here is that the most popular colouring books are adult colouring books. We've got another type of guided journal, a Reckitt journal, and then we have another anxiety relief colouring book sitting at 666 bestseller rank. So toddler or children colouring books, they are popular, but it seems as we can see that they are definitely not as bestseller as adult colouring books. We've got a Disney colouring book, and then we come to a handwriting workbook. Now this is a cursive handwriting workbook, which would be in the same vein as the first writing book that we looked at, except this one's aimed at teens instead of toddlers or children. So this is for teenagers who want to improve their cursive writing skills, and it's basically just phrases and sentences for them to trace over and practice writing cursive. But these types of books are also very popular. And the thing about these ones is that they aren't as easy to make as some other books. So they're the kind of books that aren't overly popular because of the fact that not anybody can just make them. If we keep going through, we've got another colouring book, the Relaxing Flowers colouring book. That one is always in the top sellers. We've got a 90s cartoon stoner colouring book there. And we've got another flower colouring book there, which that one is also always in the top sellers. And there's another toddler colouring book. We'll take a quick look at this one. So these are extremely simple to make because they're not detailed whatsoever. Much easier in a sense to make than an adult colouring book. And they still sell a lot, even though they're not as popular as the adult colouring books in sort of like the top 100 or the top 1,000 on Amazon. They still sell very well, and it is a harder niche to get into. We've got a Crybaby colouring book there. So we can see there's lots of colouring books in the top sellers. Now this is another one which is aimed at Father's Day. It's got a rank of a bit over 1,000, but it's just a plain notebook with a very plain looking cover. But this is the kind of book that just has a funny saying on it. And another book. Literally every book I have looked at has had some sort of printing quality issue on the book. After my last video where I talked about the fact you'll get bad reviews about printing quality. It doesn't happen as often as it seems, I personally don't think. It just happens that all these books I've looked at have damage to them. But if we keep looking, we've now got another colouring book, Enchanted colouring book. We've got this one here, which is still kind of a low content book, but a bit more detailed and a lot harder to make. But these books about how to draw are really, really popular. They have them for kids and adults. This one's probably more aimed at kids, how to draw very simple things. But if you are someone who can draw, these I think could be a really good book to make because obviously they're not easy to make. They're not high content, obviously, in terms of words. Let's head over to the next page. And what have we got? We've got another drawing for kids book, quite a few drawing books there actually. And we've got this sketchbook. Now this sketchbook is so popular. It sells so many copies, and this is basically a blank book. Now you can't have a book with blank pages in Amazon, so this one has a border around each page. And actually the look inside feature is not showing the pages because they're blank, but we'll go look at the reviews and people will have uploaded photos. And that's all this book is, a blank page with a border so that people can just draw and doodle in it. And this book sells thousands of copies. Such a simple book. But books like that, they have been uploaded a little while ago. It's hard to rank those kind of books nowadays. So we've got there the creepy Kawaii colouring book, always a very popular book as well in the last year or so. We've got Amazing Animals, mandala art, an anatomy colouring book. That was in one of my niche videos a while ago. Okay, now we're going to go over to the next category and see what we've got. So let's have a look what's in children's books, although this is probably going to be mainly actual reading type of books. We've got that Learn to Write book there again. So these are all reading type of books in the children's one. So let's look at the next category and we will look at crafts, hobbies and home. So here we've got those guided journals again. That one there that's ranking number 1 in this category. I'm missed that in the top 100, but it's currently sitting at 17 in the Amazon store because of Father's Day. That's crazy. And it's just another one of them guided prompt type of journals. And that's that one, those two books we looked at already. The coloring book we've seen. We've got that journal. That's also a guided journal. Those coloring books we saw in the last category. We've got the unicorn coloring book. That's one of the more popular ones in the toddler categories. We've got some puzzle books coming up now in the top 500. More coloring books. We've got another one of those guided journals, but for grandpa. So that'll do well too. People do like to buy grandpa gifts even on Father's Day. We've got a preschool activity book and quite a few books that we've already seen in the top 100 and in some of the other categories. Okay, let's have a look at education and teaching, see if we've got any low content books in here, any kind of educational workbooks or activity books. Again, we've got the Crystal Radke book there, toddler colouring books and a practice handwriting book. Sight words and spelling. So a few educational workbooks here. These ones are, from my research I've done over the last year or so, have really cemented their spots in the top books in these categories and across the whole Amazon store. They're always in the really, really low bestseller ranks. If you are new to KDP or Amazon, a bestseller rank is basically a book's popularity in the Amazon store. So every book has a bestseller rank, or every product in the Amazon store has a bestseller rank, and it determines how popular it is and how many it's selling. The lower the number, the better. You want to be as close to 1 as you possibly can. We'll have a look in health, because sometimes there are some logbooks related to health, like weight loss trackers or healthy eating logbook type of things. I don't think they usually get into the top sellers though, so I'm not sure if we'll see any in this one. But we've got that self-love workbook for women. That one is quite, I've seen that book before. It's quite involved. It's got a lot of text in it, but it's sort of like, kind of like a guided journal where there's questions that they get asked within the book that they need to complete to help them learn about themselves and to help create some self-love and things like that. So no, there are no health trackers or logbooks in the top sellers there. We'll have a quick look at humor. This is probably going to have a lot of dad joke type of books in it, funny dad books, which it does. Lots of dad joke books. But nothing really low content. A couple of those other books we've already seen have found their way into this category, those colouring books and journals. Let's see if we've got anything under medical, because again, medical can be quite popular for logbooks, things like medication trackers, but they're usually not bestsellers or the top selling ones in this category. It could possibly be some journals in here too, but it doesn't look like it. These are all high content books. We'll take a look at parenting and relationships. Sometimes there's journals in here. So just that journal for dad that we've seen before. There's another dad guided journal there. We'll have a look at science and math. There might be some kind of workbooks in here, similar to those educational workbooks that we've seen earlier on. But no, everything looks to be just high content books under this particular category, except for that handwriting practice book there. We'll look in self-help. There could be some journals in here, but I imagine it's only going to be the journals that we've already seen. Yep, so nothing new under this category that we haven't already seen in the other categories. And then we'll go into sports and outdoors, but there's probably nothing under here. These will all be high content books. We'll have a look at teens. They can sometimes be journals and things specifically targeting teens and colouring books targeting teens. But at the moment, this looks like it's all just novels. Fiction. And then I'll look at the last category, travel, because sometimes bucket list type of logbooks and journals can be quite popular. We've got another Father's Day gift randomly in the travel section. It's a Father's Day notebook with just a rude quote on it. So that's why it's popular. 1 rating and bestseller in Vienna travel guides. But it does have a bestseller rank of 762. And here's something interesting, that this is the first time a notebook has come up, again in an odd category, travel category, but a composition notebook, which is just a lined notebook, coming up number 1 in art and photography bibliographies, which is not a bad category for it to be a bestseller in. It's not out of the question, but it's odd that it's come up in travel. But notebooks are just not bestsellers. So it's interesting that it has come up, and that it has come up in the travel section. Even so, it's got a great BSR, a bestseller rank of 1,299, so selling a really good amount of copies. And that's all the categories where we've looked at sort of the top 50, top 100, and most of the low content books we've looked at sit within the top 1,000 of the whole Amazon store, which is amazing. You're making an amazing amount of sales if you are in those categories. And there's another puzzle book that's just popped up, just over 2,300 for a word search puzzle book there. Amazon is my favorite place to go to, first of all, to get niche ideas and research book ideas, but you can also get some helpful information from BookBolt. BookBolt is a tool for niche research specifically for no and low content books on Amazon. So if you don't want to wade through all the high content books or the novels and things like that on Amazon to find the low content books, then BookBolt, you might find that helpful. So this is the BookBolt dashboard, and I'm just going to head over here to the cloud feature. And this is where you can just search for bestsellers within a low content book category. Because I do want the bestsellers, I'm going to put this very low. That's sort of the lowest I can get it at 11,505. I can't drill down any further than the top 100. And we'll just quickly do a search across each category and see what books kind of come up in the top 1,000. So basically the books that we've already seen on Amazon, we've got that Father's Day notebook and that sketchbook, which both have bestseller ranks under 1,000. We've got that Bonus Dad, which is like a stepdad type of gift for Father's Day. And then we start getting into bestseller ranks a bit higher, over 2,000 for these books. So they're still selling great, but I am sort of trying to look at just under the 1,000 bestseller rank because they're really the top sellers in a category. Then we'll head over to the next one, journal. We'll see what we've got under there. So we've got those dad guided prompt journals. We've got a password logbook there. So that's the first logbook I've seen with an okay bestseller rank. So that's just a place where you can keep records of your passwords. So that has a bestseller rank of under 1,000. Then we've got some books that are getting into the bestseller ranks of 2,000s there, which is another guided prompt journal, but for mums. And then we've got a composition notebook there. We've got, music sheets. That's pretty self-explanatory. We'll go down and have a look at the coloring book category. This will just have all, I imagine, the same books we've seen. So yeah, the anxiety relief coloring book, that toddler coloring book, the same information that we just saw on Amazon is basically what we're going to find in here. I'm just checking to make sure nothing slipped through, like that password logbook. It didn't show up on Amazon, but it's showing up on BookBolt. So we've got some puzzle books here. We've got that swearing puzzle book. That's always popular. The golf one, that's always popular too, but getting into the 2,000 bestseller ranks. We will look at logbooks. There's only one logbook in this category, and it's right up in the 10,000, nearly 11,000 bestseller rank. So basically there aren't any top selling logbooks at all on Amazon. That's the kind of niche that you would just make more types of books, more types of logbooks, and sell less of each one, rather than trying to hit a big niche where you make a lot of money from one book. We've got trackers, again, nothing really in that niche. That's in the top sellers on Amazon. Same with guest books. Guest books aren't top sellers on Amazon. And we will have a quick look at planners, although this time of year, they're probably not that popular. They get popular towards the end of the year, but we've got a teacher planner and some bill payment type of planners there, but nothing that's best selling or anything like that. So that was just a quick look through BookBolt, but it really showed the same books that we saw on Amazon, and I really do prefer going straight to Amazon first for any kind of research, but to look at books that are in those little bit of a higher bestseller ranks, the books where, or the ranks where you aren't going to find them in the top 100 or the top 1,000 Amazon bestseller ranks or bestseller lists, but are still making very, very good sales, being that their bestseller rank is under 10,000, then BookBolt is a good way to find those books. I love looking through the best-selling books on Amazon. It makes me very excited and very inspired and motivated, especially to see so many low-content books in the top 1,000 of all books on Amazon. When you think about the millions and millions of books that are available for sale on Amazon, and getting a book into the top 1,000 of all of those books is just absolutely incredible. So what did we come away with after going through all the bestseller lists? That at the moment, and historically from me doing my own research over the last year or two, that coloring books, educational books, and guided journals are the best-selling books, best-selling low-content books. And this is also in terms of evergreen books, so books that sell year-round. They are not seasonal books. It was also interesting to see some of those seasonal books making their way through the top books, even if it is just for a short time. And that was all of those books targeting Father's Day. So you can really see the power of an event or a major event or a season or a holiday or something like that. Those types of events really have the power to propel books right to the top of the Amazon bestseller ranks, even if it is just for a few short weeks. Having seasonal books can be good to get boosts of income throughout the year, at several times throughout the year, but these books can also really make your income fluctuate, where you have very high months, very low months, high months, low months, nothing really consistent, if those are the only kind of niches that you're focusing on. It really does seem like the books that you need to put a bit more time and effort into, a bit more work into creating, are the ones that are getting places in the top 1,000 of all of Amazon's books. Books like notebooks and just plain lined journals are definitely not bestsellers, but also that doesn't mean that they are not selling at all, or that they are books that you shouldn't make if they are the kind of books that you do want to make. Niches like coloring books and educational workbooks are very hard niches to crack, but if you can make a lot of money with them. So there are some of the most popular best-selling books, low content books on Amazon right now. Were any of them a surprise to you? Do you have any books in these niches, or do you plan on making books for any of those niches? Let me know down in the comments below. And did you like this type of video? If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.